ever heard. And see things you've only heard about. Now, for the first time, available free to everyone to listen anywhere through May 29th on the SiriusXM app, online, and on the inactive satellite radio in your car. See what we sound like.
Beaches, Turks, and Caicos was created with everyone in mind. That's why everyone thinks it was created just for them. And it was. Generation Everyone.
Yeah, all about a good time. Yeah, all about a good life. You won't believe it.
Believe it. That's why we've been voted world's best 19 years in a row. Beaches, Turks, and Caicos, the #1 all-inclusive family resort. Call 1-800-BEACHES.
Psoriatic arthritis tries to get in my way. Watch me.
I've tried lots of things for my joint pain. Now, watch me.
Think I'd give up showing these guys how it's done? Please.
Real people with active psoriatic arthritis are changing the way they fight it. They're moving forward with Cosentyx. It's a different kind of targeted biologic. It's proven to help people find less joint pain and clearer skin. Don't use if you are allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting Cosentyx, you should be checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms of an infection, or if you have received a vaccine or plan to. If you have inflammatory bowel disease, tell your doctor if symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions may occur.
With less joint pain, watch me.
For less joint pain and clearer skin, ask your rheumatologist about Cosentyx.
Well, thanks so much to Buck Sexton for being here on this couch.
Thank you, ladies.
Memorial Weekend Eve. And Morgan Ortega, it's great to have you on the couch as well for the first time.
I loved it.
Did you enjoy it?
Will you have me back?
Very, absolutely. The call is mine, the couch is yours. All right, go start enjoying your week, and we're back Monday at noon Eastern. Here's Melissa Francis in for Harris.
Fox News alert, President Trump is signaling that a North Korean summit could still happen next month. Let's go outnumbered overtime. I'm Melissa Francis in for Harris Faulkner. The president's remarks come just days after announcing the U.S. was pulling out of the high-stakes meeting with North Korea scheduled for June 12th, saying Kim Jong-un's regime had broken several promises, including failing to show up to a planning meeting in Singapore. But North Korean state media quoting a leader who says the country remains open to talks with the U.S. And President Trump says his administration has reopened dialogue with the North.
No, we'll see what happens. It could even be the 12th. We're talking to them now. They very much want to do it. We'd like to do it. We're going to see what happens.
But Democrats are slamming the president's decision to cancel the summit in the first place.
I think everyone understands that the only way to resolve this is through diplomacy. There is no military option without extreme risks. So it's puzzling that the president has now thrown diplomacy off track, and there's always a risk of a miscalculation.
Greg Palcott is live in Seoul, South Korea with the latest. Greg.
Melissa, I can tell you that the folks here in this region are watching very closely the back and forth about a possible summit between Kim Jong-un and President Trump. They have a huge stake in it all. We heard from the Chinese Foreign Ministry on Friday. They say they hope the U.S. and the North Korea stay patient and meet each other halfway and press ahead with denuclearization on the peninsula. Remember, President Trump feared that Chinese President Xi got in the ear of Kim Jong-un and changed his tune. We also heard from the Japanese Prime Minister Abe today. He said about a possible cancellation of the summit that it was regrettable, but that he respected and supported the decision. Most important, again, to get rid of the nukes from North Korea. Remember, Abe is a huge ally of President Trump. As for Kim Jong-un, we saw him today riding a train. At least state media presented images of that. His regime, remember, early on Friday said that they would meet the U.S. face-to-face anytime, any place is coming after the rebuke from President Trump. South Korean government here in Seoul have so much invested. They, of course, want this summit to be resurrected. As for that nuke site event, remember that one on Thursday? It was supposed to be the big news. Guy got a bit lost in all the events of Thursday. We do have new images today from our sister network in the UK, Sky News. They were one of the teams invited to the site, showing massive blasts at the northeastern part of the country area, tunnels, portals used in past nuclear tests. The hitch is, as we have been saying, and as our Sky colleagues pressed North Korean officials on the ground about, there were no independent observers or experts. The reporters could examine the aftermath. They could see what was left, but they really couldn't confirm the claims of the regime. And remember, just a couple hours after this happened, President Trump called off the summit in Singapore, or maybe he didn't. Back to you.
Yeah. Greg Palcott, thank you for that. For more on this, let's bring in Congressman Brad Sherman. He is the ranking Democrat on the House Foreign Affairs Committee on Asia and the Pacific. Sir, thank you so much for joining us. What do you make of the back and forth here? What do you make of these latest comments?
Well, maybe the summit happens, maybe it doesn't, but I think we've put ourselves in a bad position where we would be blamed for the summit's cancellation. What we should have done is simply announce that we were delaying the summit to a date not designated and say the reason for it was that they didn't show up to the planning meeting. If they don't show up to the planning meeting, it's hard to plan and get things done by June 12th. But by canceling it, it makes them look like they're more interested in peace than we are. That's a mistake.
Okay.
But the other mistake is that we have yet to sanction major Chinese banks that are doing business with North Korea. So we have a weak hand.
Congressman, you know, the president was criticized before this by saying that he was acting like he was too eager, that he looked like a pushover. He counters that by walking away from the table, and then he gets criticized for that too. It makes it seem like, you know, folks on the other side of the aisle are going to criticize him for anything.
Well, if you veer off the road to the right and damage your car, and then you veer off the road to the left and you damage your car, people are going to criticize you for not driving in the lane, driving on the road. He has veered from one extreme to the other. What he should do is strengthen our hand by having serious sanctions, and I know Wall Street will object to that, and have reasonable bargaining objectives. When he comes to the United States...
What is a reasonable bargaining objective in your mind? Because that's another criticism has been that he has to demand total denuclearization.
At least this decade and into next decade, our objective should be freeze their program and monitor it. Make sure that they don't conduct the final tests they need to have an ICBM that can reach the U.S. mainland, and make sure that they don't have so many nuclear weapons that they feel they have a surplus and might sell them to other even more dangerous forces. That should be our objective. But when we put forward the Libya model, where Gaddafi was killed by his people in the most brutal way, you can watch the tape, and he was killed because we had destroyed his army through our air raids, and so his enemies were there to kill him. Putting forth that as the model and saying that's our negotiating position, that's what's going to happen, I can't imagine that we're going to achieve that in negotiations.
The Libya model was used as a way of saying that they were going to take the product of their nuclear program and bring them back for verification. The fact that he was murdered later wasn't part of that original plan anyway, obviously. But they walked that back afterwards anyway. I mean, what you're talking about sounds similar to the deal that was negotiated with Iran, which our allies didn't like, was too soft. We found out later they lied about their intentions. I mean, that gets us into the same position that we're in with Iran.
We won't get as good a deal from North Korea as we got from Iran, and that, as you point out, wasn't as good a deal as we should be striving for. North Korea has, say, 20 nuclear weapons. It has a leadership that is able to oppress its people efficiently, and to think that they're going to give up their nuclear weapons after Gaddafi gave up his incipient program and was killed by his own people, yes, but with United States Air Force assistance, that isn't going to happen. We can make ourselves safer if we can stop them before they develop an ICBM and limit the number of nuclear weapons.
So
the idea that they're going to get rid of all of them sets Trump up for failure, so no wonder he wants to pull the plug.
We shouldn't even try for that. I want to make sure that I heard you right and that we have you on record. you do not believe that a deal will be done that's better than the deal that we had with Iran. You think that a deal that the president comes to will be a worse deal in terms of their nuclear program than what we had with Iran?
Considerably worse in that right now, North Korea has, say, 20 nuclear weapons. They will probably have 20 nuclear weapons in 2 or 3 years. And in all likelihood, Iran will have 0 nuclear weapons in 2 or 3 years. And that is in large part because of the deal and the pressure campaign that was put together by Obama. Now, I didn't vote for that Iran deal because I think that our sanctions had been effective enough that we could have gotten a better deal, and there are ways to get a better deal. But to think that we are going to have Iran with 6,000 or 7,000 centrifuges, and North Korea is going to have 0.
I don't think we have any idea what Iran has. They won't let anyone in to look or inspect. We have no idea what exists there, where they are in their program, because we were promised anytime, anywhere inspections, and that was a lie from our former president.
Debating the Iran deal, we have a much better.
You're the one that was making the comparison.
No, you're the one that brought it up. But in any case, the Iran deal, we do get the classified briefings. We have a level of confidence that we know how many centrifuges they are operating at the present time. Truly, we should have even better inspections, but we have inspections of every site where we have convinced our allies that there's reason to investigate. And but putting aside the Iran deal, the North, for us to say we're going to demand that they immediately get rid of all their nuclear weapons, or we're not going to negotiate, is too extreme.
Okay.
Now, I'd love
we gotta
to.
go. I heard people on your
be
side of the aisle criticizing the president for not demanding that clearly, and now you're saying it's unreasonable to demand it. So there's a lot of opinions all over the place. We thank you for your time. We'll see what happens from here. I hope you'll join us again.
I'm not here to represent a party. I'm here to put forth some good ideas on what we should do with North Korea.
Sir, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Joining us now with more insight is Lester Munson, former staff director of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. He's a senior fellow at the National Security Institute as well. What do you make of the movements that we saw yesterday and then the sort of how it sounds a little different today?
Well, Melissa, I think it's a very good thing that the president decided to essentially walk away from the negotiating table when he realized that the negotiations were not going in the right direction. I wish his predecessor had been willing to do that on the Iran nuclear deal. I think we would have gotten a better deal if President Obama had been willing to walk away from the table. It actually gives me a lot of hope that the current discussions with North Korea and with China are going to lead to something productive at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard Congressman Brad Sherman before you. He feels confident that this will result in a worse deal than the Iran deal.
Yeah, I think he's wrong about that. I do give him a little credit for being opposed to the Iran deal from several years ago, and he's correct that we should be putting more pressure on Chinese economic entities. I think he's right about that, but I think he's wrong in his analysis of the diplomacy. I think this is a good thing that's happened over the last couple months. We've sussed out from the North Koreans what they're looking for. We know about the role of China now, which is essentially any path to a deal with Pyongyang is going to have to go through Beijing. That's very clear now. And we've also let the world know what the U.S. position is, which is also a very good thing.
So, and Congressman Sherman before you was saying that there's no way we should demand total denuclearization. We should just have a freeze for a period of time that we can go in and verify. Would that be good enough for the world community?
Well, right now, what we should be demanding is our maximum reasonable desire out of these negotiations, and that's the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. We should be pushing for that. If in the course of events over the next year or so, we get to a place where it's something slightly less than that, but we can verify that it's a good deal for the United States, well, then that's fine. But we should be pushing for the maximum possible benefit to the United States right now.
What do you think is the maximum possible benefit? Because he said a 20-year freeze was the best that we could hope for.
I don't think that's right. We need to work with China. We need to work with our allies in the region, in Seoul and in Tokyo, to come up with a plan that will come for an arrangement on the Korean Peninsula that's beneficial to everyone. And we're going to have, there's no question we'll have to make some compromises along the way, but there's no reason we shouldn't ask for a denuclearization of the North right now. That's actually very good for China, and it's good for us.
But denuclearization of the North, what does that mean? Do you want to give everything out? I mean, that's exactly what the stumbling block was along the way. I mean, if you listen to Congressman Sherman, it had to do with the fact that John Bolton mentioned the Libya model. If you talk to others, you know, the president hasn't been clear enough, and we don't mean the same thing that the North Koreans do when we use that word denuclearization, which is hard enough to say, much less define.
That's right. Well, that's the negotiation that's going on right now. We're defining our wants on denuclearization, and so is North Korea. I suspect what they're really testing is how much we'll negotiate with ourselves before we actually sit down at the table. If we negotiate with ourselves and end up with a 20-year freeze, then they know that they're going to do even better than that once they get to the table. We should stop negotiating with ourselves. We should take a hard line, at least until the negotiations start, and try to get the maximum benefit for us. And the maximum benefit for the United States is for North Korea to get rid of its nuclear weapons program.
So that's interesting. You talk about negotiating with yourself, and that's what it sounded like when Mike Pompeo sat down before lawmakers and they were trying to pin him down on what exactly what is he going to demand, and said that they didn't feel like he was ready. He said, we've been rocking and rolling, and they said, well, you need to come out here and lay out exactly what you are going to ask for. You call that negotiating with ourselves. What would you say to Democrats who say you got to sit there and lay out what exactly you're going to go and ask him for?
I think it's, well, look, in the grand scheme of things, I think it's good that Congress is very interested in this issue. For all the Democrats who are pushing the administration to reduce its demands, there are a number of Republicans who want even tougher demands.
Okay.
Republicans on the Hill were very tough on the administration for being willing to restart the Chinese company ZTE, which I guarantee you is related to the North Korea issue.
Absolutely. Anyone who doesn't see that's related, I don't know, they're not watching the same television shows. Anyway.
That's right.
Thank you. We appreciate your time. We got to run.
Thanks
Republican House Chairman Devin Nunes and Trey Gowdy reportedly did not receive the documents that they requested from the Justice Department during those classified briefings yesterday. How will they respond, and will they ever get the information they want? A member of the House Intelligence Committee joins me after the break. Plus, House Republicans ramping up their investigation into the FBI's handling of the Hillary Clinton email probe. The details on that and what we can expect next.
What was going on at the FBI during this period of time when Director Comey was conducting an investigation that treated Hillary Clinton and her associates in a very different way than the investigation they subsequently launched against the Trump campaign and the so-called Trump-Russia collusion.
This program is brought to you by Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis Pain Relief Cream. Beat the pain.
Hi, I'm Mike Ditka. You know, you don't get to be a Hall of Fame player without taking a few shots. And even though I've been out of the game for a while, I learned to turn to Blue Emu. Blue Emu's non-greasy, deep-penetrating formula gets down deep for big-time comfort. And more important, it doesn't leave me smelling bad.
Well, at least no funnier than you already smell. Right, Coach?
Come on, man. Give me 10. Blue Emu, it works fast and you won't stink. 1, 2, 3.
America is getting back to work again. But with world economies so closely tied together, we can't afford another financial collapse, which is why I buy gold from Roslyn Capital. Hi, I'm William Devane. And to protect myself from trade wars, runaway inflation, and ever-devaluing paper money, I buy gold from Roslyn Capital because it protects the value of my assets. Whether you want bars, bullion, or premium coins, Roslyn has them all. We can't control what happens in the world, but we can control how we protect our portfolio. I say it's time we return to the America I know, and there's no better way than buying gold and silver from Roslyn Capital. So ask yourself, are you safe?
Call now for your free gold, silver, and IRA transfer kits. And for a limited time, Roslyn is offering a $1,000 discount free to qualifying new customers. Call 800-630-8900, 800-630-8900.
Okay, one last check.
Much better. Thank you, doctor.
If you're planning on retirement, plan on vision coverage through the same eye doctor network you've come to know and trust. Good eye health is important, and VSP offers individual vision plans so you can continue the same great vision care you've enjoyed through every stage of life.
Thank you, VSP.
VSP individual vision plans. See better for life for less.
All right, I brought in high protein to help get us moving and help you feel more strength and energy in just 2 weeks. I'll take that.
Ensure high protein with 16 grams of protein and 4 grams of sugar. Ensure.
At the Joseph A. Bank Memorial Day sale, save up to 60% off everything. All 1905 and executive suits, $199. All dress shirts, $39. Plus, take an extra 50% off all clearance and go wherever the moment takes you. The Memorial Day sale, only at Joseph A. Bank.
Duncan just protected his family with a $500,000 life insurance policy. How much do you think it cost him? $100 a month? $75? $50? Actually, Duncan got his $500,000 for under $28 a month, less than $1 a day. His secret? SelectQuote. In just minutes, a SelectQuote agent will comparison shop nearly a dozen highly rated life insurance companies and give you a choice of your 5 best rates. Duncan's wife, Cassie, got a $750,000 policy for under $22 a month. Give your family the security it needs at a price you can afford. Since 1985, SelectQuote has saved over 1 million families millions of dollars on life insurance. Call now, 800-304-5039, or visit SelectQuote.com. Discover what over 1 million families know now. We shop, you save.
Fox News alert, Republican House Chairman Devin Nunes and Trey Gowdy reportedly did not receive the documents they requested during briefings about the FBI informant who met with Trump campaign officials. In the meantime, Democrats are slamming those meetings, saying they offered no evidence that the Bureau did anything wrong. Listen.
Nothing we heard today has changed our view that there is no evidence to support any allegation that the FBI or any intelligence agency placed a spy in the Trump campaign or otherwise failed to follow appropriate procedures and protocols.
But President Trump insists there is no difference between this informant and a spy. Ellison Barber is live in Washington with the details. What do we know, Ellison?
Hi, Melissa. Well, President Trump attacked Democrats in a medium you may have noticed he often likes to use, Twitter. Of course, he tweeted about the FBI informant 4 times this morning, writing in one, the Democrats are now alluding to the concept that having an informant placed in an opposing party's campaign is different than having a spy. But what about an informant who is paid a fortune and who sets up way earlier than the Russian hoax? Democrats say they have not seen evidence of a spy inside the Trump campaign, and yesterday's classified briefings did not change their view, but the briefings did lead to more frustration among Democrats, especially after White House officials showed up to the meetings. As lawmakers and DOJ officials headed to the briefings, so did White House Chief of Staff John Kelly and White House lawyer Emmett Flood, who deals with the Russia probe. Democrats say their attendance was highly inappropriate.
I think it's trying to throw their weight around. And yes, I do think it's an effort to try and bully the Department of Justice.
The White House says the pair did not attend the meetings, but made brief remarks prior to them.
General Kelly set up the meeting at the behest of the president. Emmett Flood and General Kelly went over there. But when they went over there, they were there for a few seconds just to convey the message from the president, which was he wanted transparency in this.
As for the meetings in general, Democrats say it's all part of a partisan game.
You have 2 House members and now the Speaker even participating in a partisan-only effort simply to try to unravel an ongoing investigation. It's against the rules, and if they try to force disclosure of classified information, it will be against the law.
The chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Representative Devin Nunes, has repeatedly requested documents from DOJ in regards to the Russia investigation, and he has repeatedly accused them of stonewalling. Melissa?
All right, thank you so much. Joining me now for more on all of this is Republican Congressman Chris Stewart. He is a member of the House Intelligence Committee. Let me ask you, first of all, what do you make of that meeting yesterday? It had originally been billed that everybody was going to get together, be able to get together and look at the documents, and that General Kelly was going to organize it. And, we might finally learn what went on. And, it doesn't, we have very little information about what really happened at that meeting, but it doesn't seem like everybody was able to see the documents.
Well, and that was the purpose of the meeting. And by the way, so much of what I've heard from my Democratic colleagues and was just expressed by the previous reporter is just absolute nonsense. And I hope we have a chance to come back to that. But look, here is what some people are supporting. And I really want to make this point. I think it's the most important point we could talk about today. Some people are saying, let's create a law enforcement agency, the Department of Justice and FBI, and give them unfettered power. Let's allow them to survey people, to wiretap, to listen to conversations, texts, and emails. Let's even allow them to plant spies if necessary. And then let's not ask them any questions. Let's let them do whatever they want to do, and we'll just close our eyes and cover our ears and say, whatever you do is fine. That's what some people are proposing here. I think that's insane. That's the definition of a banana republic. The Department of Justice deserves to be to have oversight by the Congress. That's all we're asking for here.
But
we're not asking.
It's so hard to do that in a nonpartisan way because, when you get together and you write memos about what happened or you want to see, then each side accuses the other of doing it for political purposes. And to the public, it's hard to know what's true because those with oversight belong to a political party. That makes it tough.
Well, there's no doubt about it, and that's one of the very disappointing things about this. And look, you can't look at some of these individuals in Department of Justice and FBI and not realize they were very political. In some ways, I would even say political activists. Read the text between Peter Stark and Lisa Page. Extremely political. Look at Director Bannon and Comey, or Brannon from the CIA. Very, very political statements. And look, the Congress, people expect a little partisanship in Congress. I mean, we would like to avoid that, but that doesn't surprise people. But when you see it from Department of Justice officials, that does surprise people, I think.
So where do you go from here? I mean, if there's a meeting where they say, look, we think there was a spy in the campaign, we need to just all sit down and look and see what happened, unredacted, and get to the bottom of what happened, and then that doesn't happen. Where do you go from here?
Well, we have to keep pursuing this. I mean, would anyone trust the FBI or the Department of Justice to brief us on this information and not allow us to see it? Look at the redactions they've made in the past that were clearly intended not to protect national security or protect a source. They were to protect them from embarrassment. And having seen that track record, and I could go into many, many examples, but you're aware of them, I think your viewers are, but having seen that they will redact to protect themselves, not to protect national security, how could we trust them to say, well, here's what this information is, we're not going to allow you to see it, but just trust us, this is what it's about. And I think we have to pursue that. I think, look, members of the committee aren't going to just say, well, okay, thank you, and we'll move on. I really believe the committee is going to continue to pursue. We want to see these documents.
Yeah, and I want to hear what you thought of as the nonsense in that report that came before you. It was related to, the beginning of the meeting where we saw General Kelly was there and the White House lawyer. And General Kelly, by the way, was supposed to set up the meeting. So the idea that he was there at the beginning seems to make sense. But Sarah Sanders was outside the White House and she was, attacked by a gaggle who wanted some comment from her. Here's what she had to say.
What actually happened, they made a couple of remarks before the briefing and the meeting took place and started, and they simply went as individuals to help facilitate the meeting and communicate that the president was asking for full transparency, and then they left.
What do you think of that?
Well, look, they didn't participate in the meeting. They didn't have access to this information. They just went to tell those from Congress and others, we want transparency. The president is here. We are here to convey the president's desire that we want transparency. And then they left. And yet, this is a good example of the partisanship. That's not above. Look, why would anyone criticize that? For them to come and kind of set the table, we hope we can have a good meeting, we want transparency, go into your meeting, goodbye. That's not a partisan activity.
Well, I'm sure they would say that they're trying to intimidate the people that were there. And, when you hear somebody like Congressman Adam Schiff saying that he didn't learn anything new, maybe that's because nobody learned anything at the meeting.
That's exactly right.
They didn't see any documents. We're not getting any further. But for viewers at home, and even for us covering it, it gets so frustrating because it feels like we just continue to go in a circle. None of these things are satisfying. We never get any answers. And you sort of want to tear your hair out. And what do you tell people that are that frustrated? How do we possibly get to any sort of satisfying conclusion on any of these matters?
Well, okay, so a comment and then good news. I mean, to Mr. Schiff's comment, we didn't learn anything new. Again, it's because it's what you said. Well, they didn't show us anything. They didn't show us the documents that we've been trying to get now for months. But we, to your final point, I think this is important for viewers to recognize. We are making progress. Look, we have to beat our head against the wall, but generally we are winning on this. We eventually get the information. They tried to hide the fact that Hillary Clinton played for the dossier. They said that was national security and lives were endangered, and yet we found that out and we realized, no, what was endangered was the reputation of some Department of Justice and FBI officials. There's been many examples where they've made it extraordinarily difficult, but after we continue to press, we do get that information, and I know it's painful for people to watch, but we do move forward slowly, and eventually I think most of this, in fact all of this, is going to come forward.
Okay. I hope so. Congressman Stewart, thank you for coming on today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
House Republicans scheduling new interviews with 3 top FBI officials as part of their investigation into the Bureau's handling of the Hillary Clinton email probe. What will they find, and is this necessary? The president of Judicial Watch, Tom Fitton, joins me next. Plus, disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein has been charged in the first prosecution to result from the wave of sexual misconduct allegations against him. We have a live report on what he's facing. That's next.
You go all white, all blue, or you like to mix it up.
Now at Men's Warehouse, it's buy one, get one free on select items. Plus, all dress shirts are 3 for $99.
Can I stop this now?
It's time to like the way you look.
We all share this world, share the same hopes and dreams. You dream of a future that respects the environment. We create catalytic technologies that help make the air cleaner. It's why we're optimistic about the future. BASF, we create chemistry.
Mom, Dad, hi. I had a very minor fender bender tonight in an unreasonably narrow fast food drive-thru lane. But what a powerful life lesson. And don't worry, I have everything handled. I already spoke to our Allstate agent, and I know that we have accident forgiveness, which is so smart on your guys' part. Like the fact that they'll just forgive you.
4 weeks without the car.
Okay, yep, good night.
With accident forgiveness, your rates won't go up just because of an accident. Switching to Allstate is worth it.
Mom?
Hello, I'm an Idaho potato farmer.
In the freezer?
Want to try new grown in Idaho super crispy frozen fries?
Sure. Hey, these really are super crispy.
Cut from 100% real Idaho potatoes. They bake up crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. Grown in Idaho super crispy fries. Mmm, super crispy. Care for another?
Sure, thanks.
Hey!
Your patio is so cozy.
Oh, well, our yard could really use some work. Do you know any good landscapers? Oh, you know, I think I do. Oh, I'd love to take your advice, but I need quotes from your top 4 guys and check their credentials and customer reviews. Oh, and I would like to get them started this week.
You can't expect your neighbors to do everything Home Advisor can. So to find and instantly book a top-rated home pro for free, just ask Home Advisor.
Hiring was always a huge challenge. Endless hours on job sites with not a lot to show for it. Then, I found ZipRecruiter. They figured out hiring. I post my job, they put it all over the web, and they send me the right people, because their technology is smart. ZipRecruiter often sends me the right person in 24 hours.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Try it for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/Fox.
It's time to pick a used car.
I really don't want to get ripped off.
Just start at Carfax.
Yeah, show me the Carfax.
Get the most accurate price based on a car's history.
Look at all the great deals.
Start your used car search at the all-new Carfax.com.
If you've been turned down for a mortgage because of credit or tax return issues, Cash Call Mortgage now has credit and income-solving mortgages for people like you. Just call 855-890-CASH and we'll work with you to find a solution to your mortgage issues.
If you have moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, little things can be a big deal. That's why there's Otezla. Otezla is not an injection or a cream. It's a pill that treats psoriasis differently. With Otezla, 75% clear skin is achievable after just 4 months, with reduced redness, thickness, and scaliness of plaques. And the Otezla prescribing information has no requirement for routine lab monitoring. Don't use if you're allergic to Otezla. Otezla may cause severe diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting. Tell your doctor if these occur. Otezla is associated with an increased risk of depression. Tell your doctor if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts or if these feelings develop. Some people taking Otezla reported weight loss. Your doctor should monitor your weight and may stop treatment. Other side effects include upper respiratory tract infection and headache. Tell your doctor about all the medicines you take and if you're pregnant or planning to be. Otezla, show more of you.
House Republicans ramping up their investigation into the FBI's handling of the Hillary Clinton email probe. A joint House Judiciary and Oversight Committee probe has 3 witness interviews set for June, the first in more than 4 months. One of the 3 is a supervisor for FBI agent Peter Strzok, now infamous for exchanging anti-Trump text messages with another bureau official. House Judiciary Committee Chairman Bob Goodlatte weighing in earlier today.
We want to know why it is that the FBI was handling these 2 different matters in such extremely different ways, showing an extreme bias that should never occur in a presidential election. And both Democrats and Republicans and independents all should be concerned about this.
But Democrats are slamming the probe as an effort to distract from the special counsel's Russia investigation. President of Judicial Watch Tom Fitton joins me now. Thanks for joining us. So how do you respond to that criticism right there, that this is just about distracting from Russia?
Actually, it's the opposite. The anti-Trump Russia investigation is designed to distract from the real criminality that took place around the election time, which was Hillary Clinton's national security crimes and the cover-up and obstruction in terms of the criminal investigation by the FBI and DOJ into those crimes. It's never been about Russia. It's been about protecting Hillary Clinton and the Obama administration's misconduct in protecting her.
There are a lot of people who say that these people don't work in government any longer. So, when you want to dive deep into what happened when, what's the relevance now when they're not out there still operating and doing these things?
Well, we want to know if the FBI's decision-making was impacted by politics, as we suspect. There's no rhyme or reason to the effort to exonerate Hillary Clinton, other than they wanted to protect someone who was a candidate for president of the party that was running the administration at the time. How was the rule of law applied? Was it applied in a way that the American people expected by both the FBI and Justice Department under Barack Obama? And it's an uncomfortable issue, I think, for this administration and this Justice Department and FBI. Because right now, Comey's rule stands, which was that Hillary Clinton didn't do anything that could have been prosecuted or should have been prosecuted, that the rules against handling classified information weren't violated in a criminal way by her, we all know the controversy about how he applied the law, suggesting he didn't need intent, when in fact there probably was intent, and of course you didn't really need intent in terms of mishandling classified information to have it prosecuted, as other prosecutions have shown. Is that the Justice Department's legal position as to Hillary Clinton? What James Comey said? I haven't heard one way or another.
Why not just wait for the IG report? I mean, there are so many different hearings and questions that it tends to, maybe obfuscate what's really going on by having so many different investigations going on at the same time. This latest one, does it really make sense? Do you not have faith in the IG's report?
Look, IG reports, in my view, are both cover-ups and exposés at the same time. They may be helpful information and facts in there. Congress has an independent oversight duty in this regard. Judicial Watch doesn't rely on IGs to do the work or Congress to do the work. We'd shut down otherwise. We need many investigations to cover all the bases into this real distortion of our criminal processes to protect Hillary Clinton.
Once you have those investigations, though, the frustration out there in the public is it seems like there's no recourse. You sort of find out that someone did something, or you hear about the text messages, or you think, it makes it seem like the fix was in for this one or that one. We find out that, Comey had already written the letter before he even spoke to her. But then nothing happens as a result of that. There's no satisfying conclusion. It doesn't seem like anyone's punished. It doesn't seem like the rules are changed. So with all these investigations, how do you make them mean something?
Well, it is frustrating. James Comey was fired. That was in part over his mishandling and abuses related to the Clinton email investigation. So there was some rough justice there. Hillary Clinton isn't president. There was rough justice there. I think the Justice Department needs to step up and take ownership of the Hillary Clinton criminal investigation, reopen it, and take it up. I'm surprised, and as someone who was investigating this through Judicial Watch, who exposed the Clinton email investigation, how many Americans still want prosecutions over this and want her to be held personally accountable. I think we need to put pressure on the Justice Department not to do something political, but to do something apolitical by enforcing the rule of law and not letting an election be an excuse for refusing to enforce the rule of law against someone like Hillary Clinton, who have violated it egregiously. We just found 10 classified emails related to Middle Eastern peace on her system. We had 18 classified emails on the Wiener laptop from her system. Anyone else would have been arrested outright. We don't need a special prosecutor. The Justice Department can investigate and enforce the law really quickly if they wanted to. And if they're not, they should just come clean and say, we're going to give her a pass, just like the corrupt Obama administration did.
How do we get back to a place where we don't feel like the Justice Department and, God forbid, the FBI are political? I mean, that was before, you felt like when lawmakers did oversight that you would kind of look at their party and whether they were tipping one way or the other in their analysis, there was sort of that suspicion among people that were watching it. DOJ and the FBI, I think for a lot of regular Americans, they thought that was just sort of the straight law. And certainly that's what people thought about James Comey before he came forward. Now we're at a place in time, especially after we've seen the text from Lisa Page and Strzok, and you start to realize all these people seem to have a political dog in the fight. How do you get back to an apolitical nature for justice in this country?
Well, I think the FBI needs to be radically reformed and retooled. The current leadership isn't working, doesn't seem to understand, is more protective of the institution than desirous of reform. Maybe bring in a review board or something to run the FBI of folks who are going to take this issue directly, as opposed to taking the establishment method of just protecting the FBI and saying we got to make it work. No, we've got to really examine how the FBI has been operating, certainly over the last decade, because it was changed radically under the leadership of Mueller and then Comey in terms of sexualization and abuse of power, and we've got to have leadership that will confront that and reform it.
Tom Fitton, thank you for your time and your work. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you, Melissa.
A former Hollywood power player is now facing justice. Movie mogul Harvey Weinstein led off in handcuffs after turning himself in to face rape charges. Details and a live report ahead.
This is a democracy, and I sincerely think that we are the guardians of that. We'll tell you what is going on, and you can decide what you think of it. But you have a right to know. In fact, you have a duty to know. There's a lot going on underneath the surface. How will historians assess this moment? I really care about what happens to the country. This is it. This is all I'm ever going to do. It's all I've ever done. It's all I've ever wanted to do, and I'm grateful for it.
In unfamiliar waters, hundreds of miles from base, all that training and discipline pay off, and you find out what your team is really made of.
And these exotic waters, all thanks to rewards from my Navy Federal flagship credit card. Looks like we're all winning this weekend.
You're going down, Dad!
Navy Federal Credit Union. Open to the armed forces, the DoD, veterans, and their families.
Dentec knows teeth grinding can feel like 250 pounds of pressure. Stop the painful grind with Dentec. Exclusive forming tray provides a snug fit and grind-free sleep. Protect with Dentec.
Spring is on, so it's time to get started. But first things first, call True Green, America's #1 professional lawn care company. Millions of homeowners like you trust us to give them a lawn they can live on. Start your True Green lawn plan today for only $29.95.
We decided to go with Bathfitter after doing a lot of research.
Yeah, we loved how they could install a new tub right over the old one without tearing our bathroom apart.
Yeah, what we didn't expect was to be blown away by the quality. And that's what happened. They showed up in the morning, and by the end of the day, we had this absolutely beautiful new bathtub. It was better than we could have even imagined.
And it's guaranteed for life.
I actually love our bathroom now.
You too can have a bathroom you'll love. Call now or visit bathfitter.com.
Think you know SiriusXM? It's time you take a different look. Beyond the button in your car and beyond where we've taken you before. Hear things you've never heard and see things you've only heard about. Now, for the first time, available free to everyone to listen anywhere through May 29th on the SiriusXM app, online, and on the inactive satellite radio in your car. See what we sound like.
Far from ordinary, and now far closer than you ever imagined. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
Experience the 2018 Lexus NX and the NX Hybrid with a class-leading 31 mpg combined estimate.
Lease the 2018 NX 300 for $339 a month for 36 months.
Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
Sometimes, bipolar I disorder can make you feel unstoppable. But mania, such as unusual changes in your mood, activity, or energy levels, can leave you on shaky ground. Help take control by asking about your treatment options. Vraylar is approved for the acute treatment of manic or mixed episodes of bipolar I disorder in adults. Clinical studies showed that Vraylar reduced overall manic symptoms. Vraylar should not be used in elderly patients with dementia due to increased risk of death or stroke. Call your doctor about fever, stiff muscles, or confusion, which may mean a life-threatening reaction, or uncontrollable muscle movements, which may be permanent. Side effects may not appear for several weeks. High cholesterol and weight gain, high blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death, decreased white blood cells, which can be fatal, dizziness upon standing, falls, seizures, impaired judgment, heat sensitivity, and trouble swallowing may occur. You're more than just your bipolar I. Ask your doctor about Vraylar.
Liberty Mutual saved us almost $800 when we switched our auto and home insurance.
With Liberty, we could afford a real babysitter instead of your brother. Oh, that's my robe.
Is it?
When you switch to Liberty Mutual, you could save $782 on auto and home insurance and still get great coverage for you and your family. Call 1-844-252-1806 for a free quote today. You could save $782 when Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein was arraigned in court today on charges of first and third degree rape and sexual abuse in cases involving two different women. Laura Ingle is outside the New York City courthouse with more. Laura.
Hi, Melissa. Well, it certainly has been a historic day for both Harvey Weinstein and for the Me Too movement. As we first saw this morning, Weinstein turning himself in to a police precinct and then coming here to a criminal courthouse to face the charges against him, which you just mentioned. Weinstein arrived this morning early to turn himself in with a throng of reporters and cameras to greet him at NYPD's first precinct. It was a, very different kind of paparazzi walk for the former movie mogul. He left in handcuffs after being charged with those 3 counts, which, if convicted, could bring him over 25 years behind bars. He was charged with rape in the first degree, criminal sexual act in the first degree, and rape in the third degree. These charges stem from a grand jury investigation involving 2 women, one who says she was assaulted by Weinstein in 2004, the other in 2013. The prosecutor describing these crimes with Weinstein in the courtroom looking on, calling them violent Class B felonies.
This defendant used his position, money, and power to lure young women into situations where he was able to violate them sexually.
It was, in fact, a pivotal moment in the Me Too movement, as I mentioned, which has had nearly 80 women come forward in the last 7 months to accuse Weinstein of sexual abuse. Weinstein has consistently denied any allegations of non-consensual sex. His lawyer, Benjamin Brafman, was here today. He spoke outside the court and says he does not believe the evidence is going to back up these charges.
Mr. Weinstein did not invent the casting couch in Hollywood, and to the extent that there is bad behavior in that industry, that is not what this is about. Bad behavior is not on trial in this case. It's only if you intentionally committed a criminal act, and Mr. Weinstein vigorously denies that.
So Weinstein left a while ago. He put up a $1 million bond, writing out a check. He left with a personal GPS device on his body. He will be monitored. He has to stay within New York and Connecticut. He surrendered his passport, and he has until next Wednesday to decide if he wants to testify before the grand jury. That is an investigation that is still ongoing. Obviously, there are more women who have accused him. The police here and the DA looking into those charges. Melissa.
Laura, thank you. President Trump set to meet with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo at the White House in less than an hour. After saying the canceled summit with North Korea could still happen, our Paro panel weighs in. That's next.
Do you remember when gold was just $20 an ounce? Not long ago, you could buy 5 gold coins like these for $100. And what are these same 5 gold coins worth today? More than 65 of these $100 bills. What will these 5 gold coins be worth in the future? 100, 200, 300? Who knows? The dollar has a long history of losing value. So put your retirement back on the gold standard with the only asset that has been protecting purchasing power for over 2,000 years. Call Lear Capital for the Shrinking Dollar Report. See why now may be the right time to shift some of your portfolio into gold and out of the declining dollar. The report is free, so call now. Then ask how you can also get up to $400, $500, even $600 in free gold in your hand or in your IRA. Call 1-800-960-3100. That's 1-800-960-3100.
Managing blood sugar is not a marathon. It's a series of smart choices. And when you replace one meal or snack a day with Glucerna, made with Carb Steady to help minimize blood sugar spikes, you can really feel it. Glucerna, everyday progress.
On my Tempur-Pedic, the sleep I get is better than any other mattress I've ever tried.
Experience the most highly recommended bed in America for yourself. Now through June 3rd is your last chance to save up to $700 on select adjustable mattress sets. Visit TempurPedic.com to find your exclusive retailer.
When I was growing up, my mom told us, always treat others the way you want to be treated. She did business with companies that shared her values, like Mutual of Omaha. She had a guaranteed whole life insurance policy through United of Omaha Life Insurance Company, a Mutual of Omaha company. And she said, if anything ever happened to her, that company would be there, taking care of us and treating us like she'd want to be treated. And was she ever right? When my mom passed away, we called United of Omaha Life Insurance Company. They were ready to help just like Mom said they would be. Her United of Omaha policy helped cover Mom's funeral expenses and bills, and they had money on its way to us within 24 hours. So now I've raised my own family, and I've tried to make sure my kids and grandkids grow up with the same values my mother taught me. And just like Mom kept taking care of us even after she was gone, United of Omaha will be there for my kids and grandkids too.
United of Omaha is here to take care of you. We treat you the way we would want to be treated. So when you call the number on your screen, we'll take time and listen to your needs and your questions. We'll help you find the right policy for you and your family. If you're between the ages of 45 and 85, you can get a policy up to $25,000 with no medical exam. We pay most claims within 24 hours. Call us right now at the number on your screen and we'll get your policy in place.
I didn't have to take a medical exam or jump through any hoops. I got coverage the day I called. Now I know I'll be taking care of my family even after I'm gone.
United of Omaha guaranteed whole life insurance. Call or go online now. Be there for their future.
Hey everyone, I'm Sandra Smith in for Dana Perino this afternoon, and coming up on the Daily Briefing, will he or won't he? President Trump still weighing options on a North Korea summit after calling it off yesterday. We're live in Seoul. Plus, breaking news on Trump's talks with China, the tentative deal he just made that may affect the data on your cell phone. And Ivanka Trump reportedly making a campaign appearance out west. We look at the role the president's daughter could play in the midterms at the top of the hour.
All right, now back to our top story. President Trump is meeting with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo less than an hour from now in the Oval Office, as he and his administration are hinting that summit with North Korea could be back on one day after he pulled out of the meeting. Here's Defense Secretary Jim Mattis.
Got some possibly some good news on the Korea summit, where our diplomats can pull it off, may have it back on even. Our president just sent out a note about that a few moments ago. I want to let you all know.
Let's bring in our power panel. Kevin McCullough is a radio host with Salem Media, and Adrian Elrod is a former Hillary Clinton campaign director of strategic communications. Thanks to both of you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
Adrian, what do you make of this? Back off, back on again?
Look, what I make of it is this has been a very erratic approach that President Trump has taken on North Korea since the very beginning, when he was tweeting Little Rocket Man to where he is now. So it's not a surprise, of course, that it almost looked like things were going too easy, like it was too easy to get to where they were, right? Yeah. So this is not a surprise, but at the same time, look, I want him to succeed, okay? Every single American should want President Trump to succeed. There's a lot of things I don't want him to succeed at, as in his immigration policy. This is not one of them.
Kevin, I mean, in a lot of ways, we've tried the other approach, the very steady, straightforward diplomat. It's not worked. Both parties have tried to be fair and haven't made any progress with North Korea. So mixing it up probably makes sense at this point. Do you think?
Well, your question was this approach of going to the table and coming away from the table. I don't think Trump's ever left the table. I think he's there. The letter was just part of the strategy. It's all. This is his boardroom. He's working the ultimate deal, and he's not afraid to say, I'll let it rot, and make the other side think that he's really serious about it. And note how quickly it brought North Korea last night and today with statements coming out going, well, maybe we can still work out something.
It is really interesting. It's a lot of insight into who we're dealing with here when they talk about calling and them not showing up and not returning the phone call. You know, there are other countries that we deal with on a diplomatic mission wouldn't behave in this way, but this really is a different country that we're dealing with than who we're used to normally negotiating with.
And of course, President Trump would be the first United States president to sit down with Kim Jong-un and have this conversation. Again, we want him to succeed, but you've got to have a thorough diplomatic approach. So I do hope that he goes back with his team of advisors and comes back at this with a very well thought out plan that is not, one of the things that I read this morning that was leaked, I think, from the White House was that he was thinking about winging it during this meeting. Well, that's a concern of mine. Like, he needs to go in with his national security advisor, with Secretary Mattis, with his entire team, and say, let's come at this with a thorough diplomatic approach that we all agree may work.
But Mike Pompeo addressed that. I mean, he was right in front of, it was just a day or two ago that he was right in front of lawmakers, and he said, obviously we have gone through every single strategy. We have done that from day one. We are rocking and rolling. We are fully prepared. And he was, laughing at / insulted by, it seemed, this idea that they're not prepared. I mean, he immediately debunked that. Do you think he's not credible on that level as someone? I mean, look at his record.
I think from the very beginning, you mentioned Rocket Man. I think that was all part of the strategy. This is a long-term arc that he's playing. And the real unknown factor in all of this is what China's intentions are. China wants us out of the region. They want us out of Japan. They want us out of South Korea. That's what their definition of denuclearizing the zone looks like.
Yeah, get America out.
We're not going to play that game.
Yeah.
And I think yesterday with the letter, Trump was as much redefining what the rules are going to be about this negotiation as he was anything else. In other words, you're not pulling one over on us. We're going to take care of business.
We had a congressman at the beginning of the show who said the best we could hope for was a pause for 20 years on nukes from them. You think that's good enough? No?
I mean, I think we actually need to have a real strategy here.
Yeah.
I don't think that's good
I thought that was an insane comment by the congressman.
Kind of insane. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
The fajitas are sizzling at Golden Corral. Every night, just $13.99. Flame rolled sirloin, seasoned shrimp, and spicy chicken. It's sizzling fajita night, just $13.99. Golden Corral. Your choice, rules.
Hi, I'm Lisa. Definitely would like to meet someone special.
Looking for a real relationship?
So I definitely would like to find a long-term relationship. Somebody who is smart, who has an excellent sense of humor. Can't wait to meet you. Bye.
Check out Match right now for free.
Prudential asked these couples, how much money do you think you'll need in retirement?
Then we found out how many years that money would last them.
How long do you think we'll keep?
You're gonna leave me back here at year 9? How did this happen?
It turned out a lot of people fell short of even the average length of retirement.
We have to think about not when we expect to live to, but when we could live to.
Let's plan for income that lasts all our years in retirement.
Prudential, bring your challenges.
This is a ClassAction.com alert. Prescription drugs Onglyza and Combiglyze XR are meant to treat type 2 diabetes, but they may cause